Greetings, everyone. Hi, this is AG. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day, wonderful week, and everything is going well for you. Thank you for coming to my channel. And today we're going to talk about how to effectively communicate with the subconscious mind. What is the most optimum language to communicate with the subconscious mind? Now, you have affirmations, you have afformations, which are different, which means you ask in the form of a question, why. You have neurolinguistic programming. You have ritual. You have subliminals. You have vision boards. But what is the most effective way? What is the way that the ancients communicate with the subconscious mind? That's a good question. Let's 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 uh let's look at it. Let's rock it. Okay. So if you look at the ancients, the Egyptians, they had something called scribes. Scribes were taught the Metu Neter. The Metu Neter was the ancient language of written language of Egypt. And what this language did was it communicated on several levels. It was not just a symbol. It evoked certain emotions. Each symbol evoked certain emotions on different levels. So the symbol was more than just a word. So it was actually, symbols are more powerful than words because they can evoke emotions on different levels. Symbols. They use colors, they used different signs. And so what happened was the scribes would study these signs and symbols and, dictate, ancient secrets, ancient formulas and recipes and whatnot for years and years and years, learning the meanings and the deeper hidden meanings and the esoteric feelings behind each symbol. This was part of their initiation. And so they would learn these symbols, the layers of them, to the point where it was part of their being. Then they were taken into a chamber. The chamber was filled with symbols, all the symbols they studied, and the symbols had different codes and different formulas and things, very deep information. And the chamber was closed and it was lit. And all these symbols would light up. It was like it was fluorescent. And they would sit in this chamber. Their mind was prepared in such a way that when these symbols hit their senses, it would penetrate deep into the subconscious mind. And when they left the chamber after a certain period of time, all of these abilities and different things that were put in these symbols would actually be very deep within inside them. So they would be changed. So the answer to the question is, what did the ancients know? They understood that emotions plus symbols, colors, is the most effective way to communicate with the subconscious mind. Now, you can use affirmations, you can use afformations, you can use neurolinguistic programming, which is very effective in terms of giving commands. You can use all of these things, they work. But your subconscious mind is like feminine. It's magnetic, it's receptive. The conscious mind is electric, it's masculine. It gives information to the subconscious mind. So in essence, the conscious mind impregnates the subconscious mind and creates the manifestation. Okay? So, the subconscious mind, the ancients communicated using stories, music, colors, um, senses, and emotion. It wasn't just a written script. It wasn't just words, because words actually are inferior to symbols. Why do I say that? I say that because if you look around, go outside, or drive down any main drag in any street, excuse me, any city in this country, and what do you see? You see symbols. You see this one that looks like something that an arrow should be shot at it. I'm not going to mention it, but you know what I'm talking about. You have this one, they look like a big gold M. You have this one over here that has something else, you know. Um, and there are double meanings within these symbols that you don't see, but they reach the subconscious mind. The one that I was talking about that you shoot arrows at actually is a symbol for gold. It's a symbol for gold, and it's also a symbol for divinity. You know what I'm talking about. It's red and white, and it's just something that you shoot arrows at, right? If you look that up, it's a symbol for gold. But anyway, so symbols, colors, stories, poetry was used actually in the divine scripts. In many of the sutras, it's written in the form of poetry. Why? Because poetry will reach deep in the subconscious mind. The feminine energy relates to stories and colors and music and beauty and sounds and that type of thing. It's like ladies have a tendency to be more into that type of thing. Men have more a tendency to be more logical and focused. Now, this is not a generalization. You know, it's a tendency, but I'm not saying it's a rule. You know, there are women who are just as, into the more concrete things as there are men and more into the um, artistic areas. But it's a gender thing. Has nothing to do with male or female. It's a gender thing. It's more like Kabbalion. We'll talk about that later. But any event, so subconscious mind likes to deal in symbols and colors. Okay, so suggestions. What should you do? If there's something you want to manifest, attach emotion to it. And make your vision board, but make sure those things on the vision board evoke an emotion in you. That's the key. It should evoke an emotion. And you should look at it before you go to sleep. I'll explain that in a minute. Looking at my notes. Okay. So, let me see here. So you want to write stories and scripts. Write a journal. You know, create symbols, your own, that you know what the meaning of them mean. You know, many of my friends that wanted a car would buy themselves a toy Matchbox car, and they would get that car. You know, they'd put the car on their desk at work and look at it all the time. And every time you look at that car, be sure to evoke an emotion. When I wanted to go to school, I got a picture of the school, and I put it on a piece of cardboard, and my headboard slid open. It had a door, and I put it inside the door, and before I go to sleep, I'd open that door, I'd look at that picture, and the emotions would well up in me. And then I would picture myself walking down the streets of that city where that school was. I'd picture myself looking up and seeing the trees, and looking down the main drag of streets, and picture myself walking in the door of this place. It worked. Okay, that's another way you do it. Be sure to evoke the emotion when you get the picture. Subconscious mind loves pictures and music. Okay. Okay. So, and it's magnetic again. It draws things. That's why you have the magician, they create something called sigils, where they would create an emotion and take that energy and put it into that symbol. And when they look at that symbol, it radiates that emotion or that frequency. And you can kind of do that, but you don't have to do it that way. You can kind of put your hands on the picture and kind of really put your emotion into it. And every time you see that picture, get the emotion, get the feeling about that. Like if you wanted to go to, say you wanted to go to the Bahamas right now, I know that, or go to Jamaica, right? Picture, what would it feel like to be sitting in the water in Jamaica, and get yourself a picture of Jamaica, the one that you really think is beautiful, and just look at it before you go to sleep. I'm gonna tell you something about what to do before you go to sleep. Okay, so that's the language of subconscious mind. Is pictures and colors, and I keep emphasizing that. It's very important. You know, when people when these magicians out here would do rituals with the capes and the swords and all this kind of stuff, and the drawing the pictures, that stuff that stuff was for the subconscious mind. That's what that was for. You know, it was to evoke a feeling in the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is like a very bright young child, or a very, very super intelligent woman. Because woman and the child are probably the most intelligent beings on the planet. Men just don't get it in terms of spirituality and connection. A lot of them don't get it. But things that are, bright colors and shiny things and all that kind of stuff, you get its attention, and then you slip it in there and tell him what you want. So that's the way that works. Now, what do? You pick 3 times in your life, 3 to 5 times in your life, that you had a really good day. You were a champion. You had a great day. Everything worked out. And you visualize that. Now you get your notebook. This is a good time to get your notebook and write this down. Okay? You do this before you sleep. You write 5 times that you had a magnificent day. You felt great. You know? Say one time you were on a basketball team and your basketball team won the city championship. You write that down. Say one time that you had a birthday and everything worked out perfectly on that birthday. You write that down. Or a time, say that when you graduated from college, write that down. Or a time that you were married and you love your husband or you love your wife and it was the most beautiful day of your life. Write that down. Okay. Then you go in and you sit before you go to bed. This is right before you go to bed. And you think about and visualize that time. You stay in that time and just really soak up the feeling and the energy of that time. The first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time. Each little scenario, you soak up the energy for it and you glow in that energy and just let it build in you. Then, what you do is you think about what you want to do. Where do you want to go? And you go to sleep with that energy, that feeling. Neville Goddard says you go to sleep feeling good, right? And visualize what you want for to sleep and feel good about it. That's how you plant. And we were talking about in the last video, we were talking about the season of planting. Now I'm showing you how to plant. And use pictures. Use pictures, and you don't say anything negative to your subconscious mind. Like, it's like, a husband talking to his wife. You don't say anything negative to your wife. If you're going to say something that is negative, you make it so it's not offensive. Same thing for the husband also. But you don't, if you're going to deal with a spouse, and this is like both pillars, you don't deal in negatives, you deal in positives so that something can be created. In order to create something, you have to have a negative energy, which is not negative, bad energy, and a positive energy. Negative is receptive. Negative is a negative space. Positive is a full space. So the two together create or manifest. Okay? So you create a positive space for your subconscious mind. And what you want to do is relay positive information, especially in terms of, and positive feelings in terms of what you want to manifest. Oh yeah, I can see I have a great car. Oh yeah, I can see that. I can see my car out there. You know, and you get to the point where there you want to eliminate the desire for the object. We'll talk about that also. You don't want to. It's like you don't even care about it anymore. Okay. You want to. Um, it's to the point where you don't you feel as though you already have it. Act as though if you already have it. And as Neville Goddard says, you skip the in between stuff. When people say, "Well, how am I going to get it? I don't know. I don't have any money in the bank. How am I going to get it?" You don't worry about that. You skip over that and live in having it already. What would it feel like to have that? That's what you want. You want to create a great space, really good feeling, and then plant your idea into that space and live in that space before you go to sleep. Your subconscious mind is open just before you go to sleep. It's more open there than any other time in the day. And that's going to be the next videos, a series of videos we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about some other things that are going to be very interesting. You'll see about that in terms of that space and the period of time, the subconscious mind. You'll have to wait and see what that is because I'm not going to tell you, but you're going to like it. So anyway, so you do this just before you go to sleep and just drift off and continue that. The problem is discipline. You have to do this continuously. Keep doing it. You miss a few days, you miss a few days, but continuously do it, right? And see what happens. So, again, you create those states out of your experience. You create a space using those states of feeling and plant your what you want to manifest in that space, and you continue to do that. And that's a very effective way to communicate with the subconscious mind. Now, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say in terms of that. Yeah, just live in that space and know. Now, there's another thing I want to say. This is a law. This is not something where who hocus pocus. No, this is a law. If you continuously think about something, now what I want you to do is do this. Go think about a time you continuously thought about something that was negative, and look and ask yourself what happened. Oh well, I'll give you an example. And I'm trying to think. There's a friend of mine, and she said, "Oh, I'll never have a baby. Oh, I'll never have a baby. Oh, I'll never have a baby." And up to a certain point, she didn't have a baby. I believe she had miscarriages. I believe she had all kinds of female problems and everything. I'll never have a baby. But divine will said, you're going to have a baby. So she got pregnant. She almost lost that baby. But she didn't, and she had the baby. Now the baby is doing quite well and very bright. Doing very well out here. So they had a place for that baby was supposed to be here. But I told my friend that, I said, and she said, "Oh my goodness," and her and her husband didn't even realize that they were creating that kind of situation. So you have to be very careful what you think and very careful what you say. And very more so even what you picture. Because the divine eye is the creative point. Thank you so much for your time. And always remember this. Don't slay your dragons. Ride them.